The ocean looks calm from above, but beneath the glittering blue, something ancient and hungry is circling. You think you're swimming alone, you're not. And by the time you realize what's following you, it may already be too late. The sun was climbing high, painting the ocean in shades of glittering silver and deep blue. Emma had always loved the sea, and today she felt braver than ever. She swam far past the crowded beach, leaving behind the sound of children laughing and the hum of tourists. Out here it was just her and the water. She floated on her back, eyes closed, feeling the warm sunlight on her face while the cool waves rocked her gently. Every now and then, a seabird's cry echoed overhead, but mostly there was only the soft hush of the ocean. Curiosity tugged at her. Rolling onto her stomach, she dipped her head beneath the surface. The underwater world stretched endlessly. Tiny fish shimmered like silver sparks, darting in and out of the sunlight. Shafts of golden light pierced through the water, vanishing into the deep, dark blue below. Emma smiled to herself, feeling safe in this vast beauty. She kicked her legs lazily, watching the fish scatter at her movement. But as she swam further, she noticed the water growing cooler, the light dimmer. That sandy bottom was gone now, replaced by an endless shadow. She could no longer see the ocean floor, just a deep void that seemed to go on forever. A small shiver ran down her spine, but she brushed it off. Emma flipped onto her back again, staring at the wide, cloudless sky. She had no idea that, far below, something massive was already moving. Hidden in the blue darkness, it glided effortlessly, its black eyes fixed on her. The water around her was calm, almost a calm, the kind of calm that comes just before the storm. A sudden, gentle brush against Emma's leg made her stop moving. It was quick, almost like a swirl of water, but it felt different. She frowned and looked around, scanning the empty expanse of the sea. There was nothing, no swimmer, no floating debris, just the rhythmic rise and fall of the waves. Probably just seaweed, she whispered to herself, forcing a small laugh, but her heartbeat had already picked up, thudding hard in her ears. She turned slowly in the water, her eyes searching the horizon. That's when she saw it, a shape, dark and long, gliding just beneath the surface. At first it was barely visible, like a shadow the sunlight couldn't touch. Then, it moved with purpose, circling her at a slow, steady pace. Emma's stomach tightened. Every instinct told her to move, and she started swimming toward the shore, each stroke more desperate than the last. The water seemed heavier now, as if trying to pull her back. She risked a glance behind her. The shadow was still there, keeping the same distance, unhurried, almost patient. Her breaths came faster, sharp and shallow. The wind carried the faint smell of salt and something else, something metallic. She kicked harder, but the shadow kept following, disappearing for a moment only to reappear closer than before. Its movements were smooth, deliberate, and terrifyingly confident. Emma realized with chilling clarity that she wasn't just being followed, she was being hunted. The ocean no longer felt like a place of freedom. It had become a silent arena, and she was the prey. Somewhere below, the unseen predator was closing in, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Emma's arms burned with every stroke, her muscles screaming for rest, but stopping wasn't an option. The shoreline still looked impossibly far, a thin strip of golden sand that seemed to shrink with every glance. She could hear her own breath, ragged and fast, mixing with the splashes of her frantic swimming. Behind her, the shadow grew bolder, breaking the surface for a moment, a tall gray fin slicing cleanly through the water. Her stomach twisted in terror. She kicked harder, forcing herself forward, but the ocean fought back. A sudden current dragged at her, pulling her sideways and slowing her down. She coughed as a wave splashed into her mouth, the salt burning her throat. When she looked back again, the shark was closer. Its enormous head now, visible beneath the water, mouth slightly open, revealing flashes of jagged white teeth. For a brief, terrifying moment, the predator disappeared into the depths. The water around her was still, again, eerily still, and that silence was worse than seeing it. Her mind screamed at her to move, but her arms felt like lead. She took one deep breath and pushed forward, knowing it might be her last. Then, from directly below, the dark shape rose. The sunlight caught the sleek, pale belly as the jaws opened wide. Emma's eyes widened as the shadow engulfed her view, the water exploding around her in a violent rush. There was no scream, only the churning of waves and the deep, muffled roar of the ocean reclaiming its prey. Moments later, the water was calm again, the surface shimmering as if nothing had happened. Far out in the blue, the shark's fin cut through the waves one last time before vanishing into the endless depths. The hunger had been fed for now. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share to keep the chills coming. Subscribe to Deep Epoch for more thrilling tales from the dark and mysterious.